Potts Camp Media Group. I'm Valerie Harper, and this is my co-host, JT Wilson. Today we're here with Miss Karen Green. She was a teacher and coach at Potts Camp High School, and we're glad to have her here with us today.
Today we're going to ask you some questions about your life and your career. I understand that you was a teacher at Potts Camp High School. What did you teach and coach?
Okay, I started out just teaching before
Okay.
I started coaching, and I was teaching driver's ed. The first year I had just taken some classes from a teacher that had left, and so I was teaching driver's ed and history. The next year I was in my field, which is science, and I was teaching biology, physical science, anatomy, and physiology. Those were the main courses that I taught besides driver's ed.
So you taught a lot of things.
I
really.
did. I taught a lot.
So
Physical science, botany. Over the years, I taught a lot.
I heard you were a coach too. You coached the track team, didn't you?
Yes.
Ma'am, I heard that you won the championship. That's very impressive, by the way. What do you think helped win the championship? What was like one of the main things you think contributed to it?
The talent of my athletes. They were terrific to work with, coach with. Yes, I started the track program and the cross country program.
Okay.
And started cross country first. In the first year, we only had 7 boys, didn't have any girls. And it was something new to Potts Camp because all they'd had before then was basketball. And so they were really excited about doing it. They didn't care what I told them to do in practice. They did it. It was just a good group of kids back then.
What do you think motivated them to keep going?
That it was something different, something nobody else had done at Potts Camp, and they decided they wanted to be as good as they could. And there was not any other small schools at that time that had cross country. And once Potts Camp started cross country, then all the other smaller schools said, well, if they can do it, we can do it. And then they started their program and have a lot of very successful cross country and track teams in this area.
So you think it kind of inspired the other people that just because you're a small town doesn't mean you can't win something or do something?
That is correct. Very correct.
Was it your first year that y'all won, or did you?
No.
No.
We started this is way back before y'all was even thought of. We started back in 90. I started here in 92, 93. So the first year we had it was 93, 94.
Okay.
And we didn't win cross country till 97. And we won track that same year. 90, of course, cross country's in the fall and track's in the spring. So 97, 98 was a good year. 98, 99 was a good year. 99, 2000 was a good year because we had won
Yeah.
cross country state all those years plus track all those years. So, and then we won a few that's over into 2000. So in total, we have 10 state championships between cross country
That's a lot.
and track and field.
What inspired you to want to be a coach? Was like athleticism just running your family or something?
My dad, when I was younger, he wanted me to just be athletic, and of course we didn't have a whole lot of stuff down there. I played my first year of organized athletics was in my 9th grade year. I went to Lafayette, is where we lived over there, and I started there, and then we moved over here to Potts Camp the summer between my 9th and 10th grade year, and the only other thing they had here was basketball. So, and I loved basketball, so that's what I did
So you
until
played basketball here?
a long time ago.
Do you feel like that you had a good connection with your students and your players?
I'd like to think so, but they wanted to play sports, and so I didn't have any problem out of them in class because they knew that it would carry over.
Yeah.
And because I would check their grades every 6 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever we had back then. If they had anything below a B, they had to run. So I just like to keep out, to me, when you start talking about student athlete,
Yep.
student comes first.
That's right.
Athletics comes next. And that I emphasize that. So because that's what you're not going to get anywhere without the grades.
Yeah.
So which one did you like doing more, teaching or coaching?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably coaching. Not as much paperwork to go with it.
Because it's more hands-on?
More hands-on. You keep them busy the whole time. They never had any free time like Every day I walked in the classroom, somebody would holler out, "Free day, free day."
Mhm.
No, we don't have free days. So I didn't have to fool with that in athletics.
Whenever you were teaching, did you like to try to like bring more hands-on things into your teaching?
hmm Well, that's in anatomy and physiology. We had anatomy lab, and we would dissect, like sheep brain, the heart, things of that nature, and that's hands-on. The kids love
Mhm.
lab, so but that's more, that's the hands-on part. And of course, in driver's ed,
Yeah.
once you got through the first 6 weeks of the classroom,
Yeah.
that's all hands-on, and they love getting in the car and riding. So it's I had the easy subjects as far
Yeah.
as to keep their
Yeah.
interest.
Yeah.
And anatomy and biology is not easy, but it was easier for them to handle as far as hands-on stuff.
Saying how you felt athleticism ran in your family. Do you have any kids or grandchildren that have played sports, and are they successful in that?
Uh, Both of them, I have two boys,
Okay.
and both of them played baseball. Um, they played basketball a little bit, not a whole lot, but baseball was their main subject. My grandchildren is the main reason that I retired, is so that because they were playing sports that
Yeah.
I couldn't go to while I was teaching and coaching, and I wanted to watch them. So I had my oldest grandson played just about every sport. They went to Hickory Flat. That's their mother taught school down there, so
Okay.
that's where they were at
Yeah.
school. So, and he played basketball and baseball, and he ran cross country and he ran track. My oldest granddaughter did all six sports, every sport they had. She did all of that, and now she's on a scholarship playing softball at Etowamba Community College.
That's good.
That's like
So
she did good with that.
hmm she did. They both are good. And then another one of my granddaughters is playing softball at Hickory Flat now.
Okay.
I know you mentioned your father wanted you to do it. Did your father do sports?
He did. He played semi-pro baseball.
Okay. So do you feel like he was a big inspiration to your career
Probably.
path?
He was probably the one that influenced me the most. Yes.
So what inspired you to want to do teaching?
Mainly because I couldn't coach basketball if I didn't teach. That was
Okay.
the main reason. That's the reason I wanted to go to college was to learn how to coach and be a coach. But you have to be a teacher before you can be a coach.
Did you
In
always
most places. Now in college you don't.
Yeah.
But
did you always see yourself being like a teacher? Was that like something you wanted to do when you were younger?
no.
No.
It was not. Both of my parents was in the military.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted to do up until the day I graduated. And then I fell in love with playing basketball, and I decided that's what I'm going to do. Is I want to play basketball. I played basketball in college as well. So, and in fact, I won a national championship. I played at the MSCW.
Okay.
Now it's MUW, and they have one national championship, and I was on that team.
So you said that you've taught and coached for a lot of years. Do you ever see some of your people that you have coached or taught?
Oh yeah, I see them lots of times.
They ever say how thankful they are for
Oh
you?
yeah, there's lots of times they just said, "I wish I could go back."
Really?
Because those were some good years back in the far as the success rate was concerned. And even though they were kind of successful the whole way through. There
Yeah.
was one year over in the 2000s that we got state runner up, both girls and boys, at the same year. That's a good year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was because of the talent of the kids that made it so successful. Their desire, because they wanted it back then.
What's some advice you would give to like a new coach?
Um, well, you got to be patient with the kids.
Yeah.
Got to be stern with the kids. They need to be busy. They need to work hard. The coach has got to have a work ethic, and the kids are not going to work if they don't see the coach working.
Yeah.
So they've got to show the example of all of that. But mostly, you have to be a motivator.
That's right.
And because if you don't motivate the kids, they're not going to do their best. And cross country and track is they're sports that you can succeed individual wise as well as team wise.
Yeah.
And so you can be an individual state championship as well as the team. And a lot of times that motivated kids because, basketball, softball, baseball, you may be very, very talented at it, but unless your rest of the team is good at it,
Then it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able. They don't give individual
Yeah,
trophies
That's right.
or participation trophies
Yep.
in those team sports. But track and cross country, they're team sports, but they're also individual.
Let's see. Do you feel like you had any childhood memories that you look back on today, or something that you did when you was a child that you feel like impacted your life to be where you as successful as you are
Like a
today?
sneak peek into
Yeah.
your childhood.
That's a good question. I don't know whether I can answer that or not. Mm, I don't know. I don't remember anything that stands out like
Yeah.
you're talking about. I went to schools when I was in elementary school or up through the 8th grade that didn't have any type of sports
Okay.
until I was in the 9th grade and went to Lafayette. That's the first year that had any kind of sports that meant anything. And once I started there, that's kind of what changed my mind
Yeah.
of wanting to be a teacher instead of going into the military. Is because once I got into the organized sports part, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I know you said that motivation was really important for the athletes. What was your biggest motivator being a coach?
I simply love to see the look on the kids' faces when they're successful.
Yep. Nothing
I
beats
mean,
it.
I'm serious about that because, you know, we get through. There were several years where we were state runner-ups.
Yeah.
Several years, and would be so disappointed.
Because I didn't win.
And then and then I say, well, you look back. This is for next year. I said, you look back at last year. Did you do everything you could possibly do to be your best? Did you miss practice? Did you quit in practice? Did you not do, when you're running a 100-meter dash, did you quit about the 50-meter dash? Did you do everything possible to make you as good as you can be? No, ma'am. Well, then next year, that's your goal.
Yep.
You want to do everything you can possibly do to be the best that you can be. And that's the way cross country and track is. If you're doing good and you want to do good for yourself, your teammates are going to do good. And so that way you can have individual awards as well as team awards.
So what's some advice you would give to someone who wants to start off track? Like they're thinking about it, but they ain't done it yet. What's something you would tell them?
Well, what I always told mine when there was their first year to come out in cross country and track is to do the best you can that day. Like if you're not running what you want to run, the time you want to run, then do what you can do today. Tomorrow we'll try to exceed it.
Yep.
The next day you'll try to do a little more. We'd always start, if you start out running a mile and you can't make it a mile, you go as far as you can, and then the next day try to do a little bit more. I have one statement that I'd always tell them. I'd say, if you got to stop, stop. Count to 10, go again. Count to 10, go again. So you get your breath, then you go again. Then you want to do the least amount of those 10 counts as you can each day. If you have to stop twice today, tomorrow, maybe you only have to stop once. But just do the best you can on any given day, and then the next day try to do a little better.
I don't remember that. I do track.
Do you?
Yes,
Good.
ma'am.
That's great. What events do you run?
Well, I'm doing new events this year. Coach wants me to do longer distance ones.
Good deal. Maybe I'll get to see you run.
Maybe. I'm a little nervous about it.
There's no need to be nervous about running. Just get out there and do it.
Well, we really appreciate you joining us today.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Make sure y'all like and subscribe so y'all don't miss out on the next video.